Hi everybody, it's Miss Rossi. Today we're going to create a drawing inspired by the artwork of Robert Indiana. What you will be needing today is a pencil, an eraser, something to trace your drawing with. I'm going to use a Sharpie, but you can use any other marker, crayon, colored pencil, or anything else you have at home. We need our Robert Indiana paper out of our art folder. It could be labeled with an RI, or it could say Robert Indiana positive words on it. It should just be a nice big square piece of white paper. So today we got to look at some of Robert Indiana's artwork. He liked to use different positive words to create sculptures and paintings. Some of the ones we got to see included words like love and hope. His love sculptures and paintings can be seen in all different languages all across the world. There's even a love sculpture in Philadelphia, and you might have seen it if you've ever been there before. So today we're going to think of some different kinds of positive words that we can represent on our paper in the same style that Robert Indiana was making his own paintings. So on our square piece of paper, the first thing we're going to do is fold it into 4 sections. If you noticed when he was making his artwork, he had one letter in each section of his paper, and they were all in like equal squares. So we're going to start by folding our paper in half, lining up both sides and creasing it. Now your paper might not line up perfectly. I did cut all of your papers, so they're probably not perfect. So just try and get it as close as you can. Now that I've folded the left and right sides together to create a crease down the middle, I'm going to fold the tops and bottoms together so I can get another crease that is horizontal. And this one, again, I'm lining up those edges and holding it down as I crease the rest of my paper. So once you open it back up and you're done folding, you should have 4 boxes on your paper, and we're going to put one letter in each of those boxes. So now it's time to brainstorm different kinds of positive words we can use for our project. So since we only have 4 boxes, you're going to want to pick a word that only uses 4 letters, just like love or hope. Some other words you can use are nice, kind, cool, safe, home, swag, or any other positive 4-letter word you can think of. Once you decide what word you'd like to do, we're going to write our word out so there's 1 letter in each box. We're going to create nice big bubble letters to spell out our word. You can decide if you want round letters or if you want letters that are more squared and block-like. And the only important thing is, as we're drawing, we want to make sure that it takes up most, if not all, of our box here. I'm going to use the word hope. I think hope is a great word for everything that we're going through right now, especially at the start of the new year. We can hope for a more positive 2021. So I'm going to start by just sketching out my letters with my pencil to spell out my word hope. I'm going to use more of like a block letter. So my corners on my letters are going to be more squared off instead of round like bubble letters. So my letter is going to be made up of almost like a bunch of rectangles. Alright, I got my H on there, and as you can see, it is taking up most of my space. It's not touching the borders that I created, but it is filling up that box nicely. The next letter I'm doing is O, and Robert Indiana loved putting a diagonal O in his pictures, so instead of just being straight up and down, it was more of an oval that was tilted to the side. If you'd like to do that and make one of your letters a little tilted to make your picture a little more interesting and further resemble the work of our artist, you can go ahead and do that. If you don't think it's going to work with whatever letter you have in this box, you do not have to. It is just an idea. So I'm just sketching out my tilted O. It's just going to be kind of like a big oval. All right, that looks pretty good. And the next letter is P. So I'm going to sketch that in this next box down here. Whatever word you have, you want to kind of spell it in this orientation. So the first letter, second letter, third, and then fourth. It's just going to make it a lot easier to read because our eyes do carry us across a page from left to right and up and down. So again, I'm keeping my letters nice and big, trying to take up most of the space inside that box. I'm still kind of making my corners sharper and less like full bubble letters, but It's okay when some of them are going to have to be round. My last letter is E, so I'm going to do a nice big capital E. Now, if you want to do all lowercase letters, you can. I think it's a little easier to draw bubble letters and block letters using capitals, but if you would like to create your word using all lowercase or some lowercase, some capital, you can go right ahead and do that. All right, I like the way that that looks. I'm going to grab my Sharpie and I'm just going to trace over my letters so they stand out a little bit better before I start adding any details and decorations. Again, you can trace your letters using whatever kind of material you have at home. I would recommend using something more permanent like a Sharpie or a pen. You can even use a crayon or a colored pencil, but I wouldn't really use something that's washable. Now that I finished tracing my letters, I'm just going to go in with my eraser and erase any pencil lines I can still see. Now that my letters are all finished, I'm going to grab my pencil again, and now we can start to decorate our picture. Now, Robert Indiana liked to keep his sculptures and paintings fairly simple, but we're going to add some different kinds of patterns and things to create some texture on our paper. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add different patterns and designs inside our letters and in the background. You can decide what you would like to draw inside each section. If you want to create a pattern or design using just shapes and lines, you can do that. Or if you want to draw small little pictures to create your image, you can do that as well. Maybe you want to draw things that remind you of your word. That would be a great idea if you did love and you wanted to add little hearts or other symbols that represent what your word means. That would be great. I think I am going to do a mixture of lines and shapes to create some abstract designs in my picture. Now you can do whatever you want on yours. Yours does not have to look like mine. I'm just going to carefully sketch out some vertical lines inside my first letter. Now the most important thing is that we want different designs or patterns inside our letters and in the background. So if I'm doing these vertical stripes, these stripes going up and down inside my H, I do not want stripes going up and down in the background because it's going to get a little confusing and it's going to become harder to read. So whatever I'm doing in my letter, I want to do something different outside of my letter. Now, if I wanted to go in the background here and do horizontal lines, that would be enough of a contrast where both of those would be different enough that it wouldn't be too distracting and you'd still be able to read it. If you want to do 4 different designs in your letters and 4 different background designs, you can do that. If you want a consistent design in all of your letters and different things going on in the backgrounds, you can do that as well. It's really up to you what you want your picture to look like once you're done. I'm just giving you guys some different ideas. I'm going to do these same vertical stripes. Ooh, maybe I should make them horizontal. So I'll have a stripe theme in both of these. Okay, so I'm going to do, keeping with the stripe theme, but horizontal lines this time in my E. And then I think in the background of these, for my H and for my E, I'm going to do some big circles and bubbles in the background by just making circles of all different sizes. And you just want to make sure you fill in that entire space with your design. So I'm making sure I'm not drawing over the top of my H, but I do have some of my shapes coming out from the edge where they're stopping once they do hit that letter. And I'm stopping my design once I hit that folded crease as well. I think I'm going to jump down to my P, and in the background of my P, I'm going to do a zigzag pattern with a bunch of zigzag lines that are vertical. Not sure what I want to put in the P yet, but I think once I see a background design, it will help me get some ideas of what I can put in there. And from there, I'm going to jump up to the O, and I think in the background of the O, I'm going to do some wavy lines, but since my O's already on a diagonal, I think I want my waves to be also on a diagonal. So I'm just going to draw these wavy, bumpy lines to fill in the background, kind of like that zigzag line section behind my P. And to go along with the bubbles that I have over here, I think I want like drips in this section. So I'm just going to draw some kind of big organic shapes that kind of look like big blobs that are dripping down off of my paper. Inside my O, I'm going to draw some lines that kind of recreate the shape of my O as they go towards the center. So I'm kind of making like big circles that replicate the overall shape of my O to turn it into like big rings. And I guess since I have lines in all of my letters, I should continue using lines in my P. And for my P, I'm going to do just some diagonal lines that are going to crisscross each other. So I'm going from higher up on the left, down on the right, and then I will crisscross over these by being higher up on the right and crossing that slash down towards the left. And this is where I'm going to stop for today. Next week, we're going to trace and we're going to color in our pictures, but we're going to use some special materials to do that. So once you're finished sketching out your designs inside each of your boxes with your pencil, you can put your name on the back and save it in your art folder so you don't lose it. Since we're going to be finishing these next time, you do not need to upload anything as an assignment this week. Just make sure you save your paper until our next class. I hope you have fun drawing all of your different designs inside your positive word. Try your best, have fun, and get creative. I'll see you next week. Bye!